And this is the Arkansas Razorbacks in their victory over the Ole Miss Rebels this past weekend. For more of that, we'll see it later in the show. Welcome to Rebel Watch. I'm Kelsey Davis, and joining me today is Jacob Duke and Max McCann. Now, the Rebels took a week off, and so did we. So I don't know about y'all, but I could not be happier to be back.
I'm glad to be back, honestly.
So glad to be here.
It is great to be back on this desk. And even with 2 weeks to prepare, the Rebels couldn't put a stop to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Let's roll the highlights. As I said, it was the Ole Miss Rebels and the Arkansas Razorbacks in Fayetteville for a showdown. Now, this is quarterback Austin Allen who launches it to wide receiver Dominic Reed to put the Hogs up 7-0.
And Chad Kelly trying to tie this game up. 5-yard pass to Evan Ingram. That scores a touchdown, but Gary Wunderlich on the extra point is going to hit it off the upright. Arkansas leads 7-6.
Just a missed chance for the Rebels.
Yep, and here's Chad Kelly scoring right before halftime. He takes a run to the outside and scores from 9 yards out. It's a tie game at halftime. The Rebels have a good chance to win the second half at this point.
Now, speaking of missed chances, this is a fumble from Arkansas. So many white jerseys get their hands on this, but the Hogs recover anyways. It's still Arkansas ball. Another missed chance for the Rebels.
And Austin Allen's going to drop back. Marquise Haynes is going to intercept this pass, take it all the way back to the 50, knocked out of bounds, Ole Miss ball.
Ole Miss is going to capitalize on this drive as Chad Kelly will run to the left here, evade two defenders, and score from 17 yards out. There's only 8 minutes in the game left at this point. The Rebels were hoping to hang on, but Arkansas had other ideas.
Yes, they did. And when Austin Allen handed it off to Keon Hutcher, who's going to take it in for the touchdown, putting the Hogs up 34-30.
Now Chad Kelly trying to win this one for the Rebels. He's going to get the ball. He's going to take off down the field. Here's with the pump fake. He's going to be close to the first down, gets hit, fumbles the ball. That one goes out of bounds. And then, Arkansas wins this one 34-30. That's 3 years in a row we've lost to Arkansas.
Yes, and as you heard Jacob say, this is the third year in a row that Arkansas has beaten a ranked Rebels team. So, Jacob, what is going on about this Arkansas team that is giving Ole Miss so much trouble?
They just can't stop the run game, Kelsey. I mean, the run game opens up the passing game. They have this incredible balance attack. Here's some stats for you. 229 passing yards, 200 rushing yards. If that's not balance, I don't know what is. I mean, the offensive line was just creating holes. They could not stop the run. They were just pounding the ball. Almost 5 yards to carry for the Arkansas team, and Ole Miss just couldn't stop that.
Max, a lot of people want to put these 3 losses on Chad Kelly, but when you look at the past 6 games, it's been pretty obvious that Ole Miss just can't put together a complete game. You had the offense playing well one half, the defense playing one well the next. So when do you stop looking at the players and start looking at the coaching staff?
Kelsey, this staff has been pretty much intact for the past 5 years since Freeze has been here, and that was really important for Ole Miss when they were building the program. I mean, now that Ole Miss has arrived as a contender on a yearly basis, I think they need to mix it up on this staff a little bit, especially on the defense. It's unacceptable that Ole Miss is dead last in the SEC in yards allowed per game. I'm not trying to pin this game solely on the defense because I believe they played well enough in the second half to win, but throughout the season, the defense's inability to get off the field on third down and give up chunks of yardage is hindering what Ole Miss is trying to do week in and week out. It's time to change up the scheme and maybe bring in a guy who can do something different on the defensive side of the ball, bring in some better players.
And Faith Fogarty had a chance to get, and when athletes have an incredibly busy schedule on top of spending a good amount of time traveling, Rebel Watch reporter Faith Fogarty takes a look at how they handle the workload.
Student athletes at the University of Mississippi make many changes to their lifestyle due to balancing their academics and their sport.
It's really just priorities. You just have to since I am a cheerleader and I have to do my cheer stuff and I also have school, I have to make sure that I do that first before I do anything else. I mean, you have to make sacrifices. You may not be able to hang out with your friends as much as you want to, as much as everybody else that, like people that don't play sports, get to.
University of Mississippi advisors try to take some of the stress off these student athletes in order to help them succeed. Many student athletes take full advantage of these tutors the University of Mississippi gives them in order to stay on top of their academics. Sometimes the stress from balancing these two important aspects in life can put a strain on the body.
So student athletes, any student period has a ton of stress. You always have to worry about balancing your time between schoolwork and your social life, but athletes also have to worry about practice, wait times, managing any injuries that they may have, stress and kind of the late nights that you had in college anyway, make you more susceptible to injury and also illnesses. So stress actually adds more stress. Student athletes time because that's time away from your sport, time away from school and sometimes.
Being a student is hard enough, but these athletes take balancing to a whole nother level. With RebelWatch, I'm Faith Fogarty.
And when we come back, we'll take a look at Saturday's matchup against Ed Orgeron's LSU Tigers. Keep it locked on RebelWatch.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
I formation with Harris under center. He's going to toss pitch it to Fournette. He's trying to run left, and what a play by Marquise Haynes! He throws the fins up, and he sprints toward Fournette. Second quarter, Ole Miss up 3-zip. There's the snap. The handoff's to Walton. He tries the left side, lunges toward the goal line. He breaks the plane. Touchdown, Ole Miss. Goal for the Rebels from the 5-yard line. Judd goes in motion. Kelly's going to keep, run off the right side, trying to get to the corner. He's the 2, he's the 1, and Chad Kelly is in the end zone. Touchdown, Ole Miss.
Welcome back to Rebel Watch. Today, joining us on the phone, we have Christian Boutwell from the Daily Reveille. They're at LSU. Thanks for joining us, Christian. Now, do you think Coach Orgeron is coming into this game coaching with a chip on his shoulder since he's coaching against his former team, the Rebels?
I think there's a couple different things playing into this. You know, Ed having 2 games under his belt at LSU now, both of which are against inferior opponents, I guess, compared to Ole Miss, some would say. And so I think mainly that is going to fuel Ed. You know, he's a fiery guy anyway, but mainly that. And then, of course, you know, he was asked last night, right after the Southern Miss game, how he felt, and he was like, "There's not many things I remember that were good memories back at Ole Miss." So I think he is playing with a little edge there, although he may not say it, but you know. That edge is still there.
Christian, what do you think the difference is between this team with Orgeron at the helm rather than when Les Miles was there?
You've got to say the offense. They look a little bit different. They look a little more wide open. Just coming from last night, DJ Chark, a wide receiver, scored on end around the first half. They only had 10 points, and then, as you said, the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator, Steve Insminger, started to kind of let it rip. And so LSU came out, made a couple different spread-wide formations, and started connecting on some deep plays, which, you know, people have been talking about where is LSU's deep plays. Are they going to be able to connect that long ball? And they showed you that they have a little bit of that in their game plan yesterday. So, you know, the offense is looking a little bit different, even without Leonard Fournette lately. So Darius Geis has really picked it up there. So if there's anything that I can really point to with the offense looking mainly a bit different, a little more wide open, and being able to connect and score a couple points.
Hey Christian, Max here. So did Leonard Fournette sit out the past few games to make sure he was healthy for the Ole Miss game?
It's really unclear how, you know, straining or restraining Leonard's injury is. You know, he messed up his ankle way back in preseason, and then once at the last drive against Wisconsin, LSU's opener, he nicked it a little bit there too. And so throughout the season, he's kind of been watching it, and then he got hit as he came back a couple games after then. So, you know, he's really watching out for it because he's a high ankle sprain, and those high ankle sprains can kind of resonate for a while and sit there. So I think Leonard, you know, he's been trying to go. He did not practice last week, and Ed said it's a good rule. You know, if you don't practice, you shouldn't play, but that is until game time. This is Leonard Fournette, so it's a bit of a different situation. But Leonard's been working with LSU's training staff and his athletic training staff trying to get him ready. So I think Leonard may be ready. We'll see. If he practices earlier in the week, I'd tell you that's a good sign that he's going to play. So we'll see then. We'll know more tomorrow and the next day. But I think Ole Miss should expect Leonard Fournette to play.
Thanks so much, Christian. It's great hearing from you. Okay, guys, so before we heard from Christian, we took a look at the 38-17 win over LSU last year, but 2016 has been a really interesting year for the Tigers down in Baton Rouge. After losing to Wisconsin and Auburn and barely squeaking by Mississippi State, Les Miles is out and Ed Orgeron is in. And since Edo has arrived, they put up 42 points on Mizzou and 45 points on Southern Miss. So, Jacob, what should we expect from this Tiger offense now that Edo is in charge?
You know, like you said, it's 40-point games back-to-back. You know, the offense has looked better under Ed Orgeron. The offense was just struggling under Les Miles. I think, you know, having that new head coaching change really helped. But really the big thing, they haven't missed Leonard Fournette that much. You know, Darius Geis at Mizzou, 17 carries, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns. Southern Miss, 16 carries, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, the offense is just getting it done. They're creating holes for Geis, and he's just getting in there, and he's running the ball hard. So, I mean, really, they haven't missed Leonard Fournette. The offense has just been, you know, been very powerful. But Ole Miss will be that first big test for Ed Orgeron.
Right, and I believe that. But, Max, win or lose, the Tigers haven't given up many points at all this year against anybody. So what do you expect from the Tigers defense?
You know, LSU has some real speed. They always have had speed. Jamal Adams is a fantastic safety for the Tigers, and Kendall Beckwith is solid up the middle at linebacker. Ole Miss will definitely have to play better than they did against Arkansas if they want to score on the Tigers' defense. In games LSU has lost, it hasn't been because of the LSU defense, but opponents have been able to run it with success. Ole Miss will have to do the same to win on Saturday night.
And you saw how Ole Miss running game, or not the Ole Miss running game, but the Arkansas's Razorbacks just ran all over Ole Miss. I think it's going to be the same with LSU, guys. Yeah. And Fournette, that's just going to be a
running game. That's all it is to it.
Well, we'll have to see this Saturday, but after the break, we'll take a look at what you can expect from Ole Miss hoops this year. Keep it here.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. And we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Back to RebelWatch. Now, guys, basketball is right around the corner, so let's break down some men's hoops. The Ole Miss basketball team failed to make the NCAA tournament last year, and I don't think they were necessarily happy with how they finished. They really struggled with some key injuries in key games with Sebastian Saiz and Stephon Moody. So, Jacob, I guess the question is, what should we expect from them this year?
Really, the Ole Miss basketball team, I really don't see NCAA in their future. I see more NIT. They got a lot of young, inexperienced players, some JUCO transfers. I think they'll have a good season, but it's just if they can put it all together and get it done. And
Max, they're coming back this year without the electricity and star power that they've had with Stephon Moody and Marshall Henderson in the past few years. So who do you think is going to step up into that spot, and do you think they can win if someone doesn't?
Kelsey, I was talking with Andy Kennedy last week at his press conference, and I think he expects several players to fill the scoring void left by Moody. Expect newcomers DeAndre Burnett and Cole O'Neal, transfers from other good teams, to average over 10 a game, and have returners like Marcanvis Hyman and Terrence Davis have a bigger role in the offense. You know, you want to expect a different player carrying the offense every night instead of Moody scoring 30, 40 every night. This will be advantageous for Ole Miss in the long run because opponents won't be able to focus on stopping one guy like they did last year. I think the ceiling for this team, they can be a top 4 team in the SEC if they can put it together at the right time.
Right, and one big thing that has come out of the news lately for Ole Miss men's hoop is signing Devontae Shuler. Now, they have nabbed a huge get in Devontae Shuler. He is out of South Carolina. He plays high school basketball in Columbia, South Carolina, at the prep powerhouse Oak Hill Academy. He is a 4-star guard. Jacob Schuler is the second commit of the 2017 class for Ole Miss, and he chose them over Oklahoma State, South Carolina, Ohio State, and Miami. What do you think about coming to Ole Miss was attractive for him?
We were voted the most beautiful campus. Maybe that's why. You know, but the pavilion, it's a nice, it's a nice new building they have. It's a huge signing for Ole Miss basketball. I think what he saw about Ole Miss, he could come in, step in immediately, make an impact. Like I said, it's a huge get for Ole Miss basketball, a 4-star. This guy's a really talented kid, and I think he's going to make a difference for this team. And I think he knew he could step in right away and start playing and get some minutes and make an impact.
Right, and Max, he's a 4-star prospect. He's the 24th best shooting guard in the country, so no doubt the kid has some talent. But where exactly do you see him fitting into this program?
You know, Schuler is one of the best players Andy Kennedy has gotten out of high school in the last few years. He's a great defender and a slasher who can get to and finish at the rim. I think he pairs really well with fellow Ole Miss commit Parker Stewart, and that Schuler can drive and if defended in the paint, he can kick it to Stewart, who's an elite 3-point shooter. Andy Kennedy has done an excellent job so far putting together this Ole Miss 2017 recruiting class. I think the pavilion has a lot to do with that as well. They're doing really well.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future of this Ole Miss basketball team. They have a lot of young recruits, and I think they're on the up and up. So.
We'll have to keep an eye on it this season, and when we get back, we'll take a look at some high school football from around Lafayette County. Keep it locked on RebelWatch.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. The Oxford High School Chargers took on New Hope for their homecoming game. Let's roll the highlights. Now, as I said, it's the Oxford Chargers against New Hope. They're in Oxford. You can see Hiram Wadlington. He absolutely had himself a game. Taking a second before the game to get ready. Now, this is New Hope's QB. Thomas Stevens runs it in for a 2-yard touchdown.
That's big for New Hope to get on the board early, especially against an Oxford team that's hot right now.
They lead Oxford 7-0. Now, this is Hiram Wadlington with a 1-yard touchdown run, but he scores 6, but the extra point is no good, 7-6. Now, this is Hiram Wadlington with a 16-yard run. Oxford goes for 2, and it's good. The Chargers are leading the Trojans 14-7.
Great effort by Wadlington just getting into the end zone.
Now, again, Hiram Wadlington, you heard his name all night, breaks multiple tackles and running in for the touchdown. Chargers lead 21-7 at the end of the first half.
He really put Oxford on their back. 160 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. That's impressive.
Now, again, Wadlington, but he gets hurt. He walks off the field and gets dressed out of his pads on the sideline. Now, this is New Hope QB Thomas Stevens completes a pass to Tyron Reed, brought down by the Oxford defenders. It is recovered and fumbled recovered by TQ Thomas, who runs it in for a touchdown.
TQ Thomas has been big on Oxford. He's made great plays.
Now, again, Thomas Stevens with the keep for the TD, but again, the extra point is no good from New Hope, so Oxford leads 28-13. The final score was 31-13. Let's go to Abby McIntosh with the post-game report.
Welcome to the Rebel Watch post-game report. I'm Abby McIntosh. I am here with Oxford running back Hiram Wadlington. Hiram, you had 156 yards in the first half and 3 touchdowns. What was working for you?
I mean, I give credit to my offensive line. They blocked pretty well, and I also give credit to our outside receivers for blocking pretty well. We came into this game looking to play hard because this was a playoff-type game because for us, if we win, we secure 95% chance we secure a chance to the playoff, and if they lose, if we beat them, we most likely knock them out. So we just have to fight, and they have to fight to stay in. So it was a pretty intense game.
You obviously got hurt in the beginning of the third quarter. How are you feeling?
Right now, I'm feeling pretty. I can't explain right now.
This is Oxford's 3rd straight just dominant win. How are you going to take this momentum headed into next week?
I mean, it's a great win, but we got more work to improve. We got another great opponent next week, Clarksdale, and they beat New Hope, so we got a great chance to beat them.
All right, thank you. Final here at Bobby Holcomb Field, Oxford 31, New Hope 13. For Rebel Watch, I'm Abby McIntosh.
Okay, guys, the Chargers seem to have sufficiently snapped their losing streak, and if there was a time to pull it together, this would be it. So, Jacob, do you think their offensive struggles are over?
Yeah, it looks like they're finally turning things around. They've won 3 straight. But, I mean, they've won against really just awful teams. Like, none of the teams have winning records. But, I mean, their offense has looked better. Like, Hiram Wadlington has been carrying that team. He's a man on a mission. He has put Oxford on his back. Like I said, 160 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half against New Hope. This man is on fire right now. They need to ride that. With Hiram Wadlington, it opens up the passing game. And Oxford, I think they have to win out if they want to make the playoffs. They need to win these big games down the stretch.
Right, and Oxford was not the only high school playing in Lafayette County this week. The Lafayette High School Commodores took a road trip to New Albany. Let's take a look at those highlights. As I said, it was Will Ard, you see there on the sideline at New Albany for the Doors. It is already 7-0, but Jamarcus Quarles is going to take it in for a short touchdown run, putting the Doors up 14-0. But this is New Albany quarterback Loden Bolden. He pitches it to the junior running back Jordan Lipsy, making it 14-7. Still Doors are up. They're trying to get their team pumped up right there. Those coaches are. Now this is early second quarter. 1st and goal. Will Ard lasers a pass, and Tyler Carmichael Williams snags it, making it 21-7.
The Lafayette offense is unbelievable.
They really are, and you can see it here again as Will Ard launches that long ball to Dylan Woods. He hauls in a 50-yard pass, making it 28-7. They are excited on the sideline, but Lafayette was not done yet as Jamarcus Quarles makes another show-stopping run. He is just getting started, and he takes it up, making it 35-7 with that touchdown. Now the final score was 52-17, Lafayette over New Albany. Let's go to the post-game report with David Kennedy.
Welcome to the Rebel Watch post-game report. I'm David Kennedy. Standing with me now is the player of the game, Will Ard, who threw up 3 touchdowns tonight against New Albany. Will, what do you attribute your great success to tonight?
The guys up front and offensive line, they just do really good. And our skill guys, they make plays, and they do their thing, and I just give them the ball.
Now, you guys got a big game coming up against the Senatobia Warriors next week, which will ultimately decide who the top team in the region will be. What do you need to do this upcoming week in practice to really prepare for them?
I mean, they have a lot of guys that can run. They have a lot of talent, receiver, at slot, at running back, and I mean, they're going to be hard to defend. But we're just going to work as hard as we can this week and get ready for them. We got the greatest coaching staff in Mississippi that will prepare us.
Thanks, Will. The Lafayette Commodores will take on the Senatobia Warriors next Friday night at home at Lafayette High School Stadium. For Rebel Watch, I'm David Kennedy.
Okay, Max, as you said, this Lafayette offense is pretty unbelievable. I don't think anybody was really expecting this year, but I'm a believer. I think they're the real deal. So how far do you think they're going to go?
You know, Kelsey, I'm a believer, but it's hard to say how far they'll actually go. I think they'll probably win their region this year when they beat Senatobia next week. And I think this team has a ceiling of making the state finals, you know, if they can play up to their potential. I don't see them winning state. There's a real powerhouse down on the coast that is a heavy favorite to win the 4A title. I think they have a really good offense, and if their athletes come ready to play, I think they can go really far.
Big key, feed Jamarcus Quarles.
Yep.
Feed Jamarcus Quarles. Okay, Lafayette. But when we come back, Daniela Oropeza will shed some light on the Ole Miss fishing team, and we will make our picks. Keep it here.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Rich?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Around this time of the year, people are hyped about football. But what about fishing? I spoke with a very dedicated member of the Ole Miss Fishing Club about his experience on the team and what it's all about.
That getaway just from the world, and where I just come out and enjoy it.
When Andrew Holbert joined the Ole Miss Fishing Club, it was not much of a team, but a group of 4 members who fished locally.
I became the vice president, and my first year here, I really didn't fish too much. I focused on marketing the team. Just really kind of trying to grow it and get more national attention so we can get more money and stuff like that, get better recruits, and actually compete for School of the Year.
And since then, the team has grown.
And it's really taken off. Last year we had about 11 members. 5 of us actually traveled and competed. We finished within the top 50 of School of the Year points and didn't fish half the event, so that says a lot.
This group of men and women fish year-round, competing in tournaments both locally and nationally.
They have tournaments from when the lake's ice over till it's 100 degrees outside. Doesn't matter. This is what we love. So. Tournaments, they have different formats. The ones that mostly count are where you go out and you weigh your 5 biggest fish. Now, you can catch as many as you want throughout the day, but you only get to keep 5.
The Ole Miss Fishing Club has recruited nearly 30 members since 2010, and unlike other sports, each member is required to supply their own equipment from rods, reels, and boats. However, the team has made do with help from sponsorships and donations.
One attribute to our team that I really brag on is like our sponsors, because I mean you won't find many schools that has as many logos as we do. It's really growing and it's really taking off, and we're excited about our future.
And for Holbert, when he's not competing, he's still on the waters.
I just come out, hang out, and a lot of times I don't even care about catching fish. It's just being one with nature, getting out here, enjoying what you love.
For more on Ole Miss athletics, continue to tune in and follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Daniela. And right now, we are going to take a look at the top 5 plays from around the state. Let's roll those highlights. I'm sorry, we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties, but now we are ready. Let's try that again and roll those top 5 plays. All right, guys, it is the top 5 plays of the week around Mississippi. Number 5 is Lance Stewart. Oxford's running back leaps over the New Hope defender.
Number 4, Quincy Adebojo with the back shoulder catch. Incredible catch, puts Ole Miss in great field position right there.
Number 3, Will Ard on 3rd down makes a great pass to Lafayette wide receiver Dylan Woods. Dylan bounces off a defender, scoring the TD. Like I said earlier, Lafayette offense just keeps on rolling.
Play number 2. Chad Kelly evades 2 defenders. He said not today, and he takes a 17-yard touchdown run, putting the Rebels up 30-27.
And your number 1 play, Jamarcus Quarles, he's gone viral, runs over the ref right there. Poor ref, but I wouldn't want to get trucked by Jamarcus Quarles.
I personally would not want to get trucked by Jamarcus Quarles. I hope that ref is okay. That is all we have for you today. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at rebel_watch and tune in every Monday on our Max House Sports Channel 31. Thanks for watching and have a great day.